And String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And tonight, as I have mentioned before, this is the last stream that I will do until after Ramadan. This is also the last stream of February. And I mentioned that in the post. So tonight is the other My Own Meals that I got from a Canadian seller. These are both the vegetarian ones that I got, so I am happy to have these. It made it easy for me to do the comparison between My Own Meals and La Brie, which replaced My Own Meals. I am bringing up my chat on my tablet so it's easier to see since my phone is mounted right above my tray. So this is, some of these My Own Meals are both Halal and Kosher certified. This one happens to be both, as you can see there, as well as there. This is the pasta with garden vegetables. Don't know how you can see this, but this very good ingredients. When they did these, at least at this time period, sometimes they would change the color of the card that came in the accessory bag, but all of the snacks are the same. It looks identical to the other one. Just the other card is blue. This one's kind of a sandy, taupey type of color. So this is the retort pouch that will go into the pot. Now this is a narrower bag than the La Brie bag, so but they're pretty tough bags. I'm going to set the box aside. So we got the usual very small spoon. You can see how small it is compared to my spork. And that it would be engulfed by the retort pouch. But I will save that spoon because that becomes part of my emergency supply. And these are the chips, the pita chips, that were the problem last time. Let's see, I'm going to see who we got here. Multi-Magnum, spicy tuna rolls. And KYD. Amale is here. Sorry, this is the wrong channel for that. That is not my area of expertise. When these were made, they always put this in there just for something read for the person who would have been issued this pack. But you got a wet wipe, Maxwell House coffee, packet of sugar. There's one of the two candies. The other one will come out in a bit. This is the hot cocoa mix. I did not drink this in the other one. I drank the coffee, but I'm going to try the hot cocoa mix tonight. This is a peanuts bag. Last week, this one was compromised. So, have a good look at that one. Got raisins. These are snack heavy, just like the Halal US MREs. These are the same sunflower kernels. The same box of Cheerios. There's the coffee creamer. The same two individually wrapped Nature Valley granola bars. The other candy, this one was the same as last one, but this one, the other one had the mint candy in it. This one is a butterscotch. The usual rear roll. And then the salt and pepper packets. So I'm going to keep all of those items in there. And I will put the spoon in there as well because I will be using my titanium fork. Burger Butt is here. No cold drink option. I forgot to get one, but I will do that in a bit. There's Art and Ornina dropping in with that super chat. That's much appreciated. They packed this cocoa mix very tightly in here. So good to see one or both of you in here. I just have another bag that I will use for the trash. So what I'm going to do is get drink powder. I'm going to put this into the pot, and then I will get something for my drinking jar. Again, this is something that Love Reute does that My Own Meals did not do. They did not include a cold drink option, so I just went and got an orange. That one, this one really got powder everywhere, so. The Carlos Perry is here. Thanks for dropping in. That will get another stir later. Now I will go get the hot water for my cocoa, and we'll see how that is. I just took my kettle back into the kitchen. So far, this one seems to be mixing up pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and open up so this is the same raisins. These are not even a sealed box. So these did dry out quite a bit. Even while inside that sealed bag. There, now that is all of them. I'm going to use my little cheater tool again to cut these packets open. These just smell like honey roasted sunflower kernels. The question is, how will the peanuts fare? I'm going to open these last because those might be the sketchiest. So far, this packet appears to be in much better condition. They smell better. Yeah, they smell a whole lot better than the peanuts from the last one because that bag had a tiny pinhole in it. Mother Earth Garden Club is here. Thanks for dropping in. One of these granola bars got a little broken up, but that's okay. Actually, both of them got broken up, but I'm not too worried about that. Again, because of these being so snack heavy, someone who would have been issued this particular ration could have split this up into two smaller meals. Say, like, have the cereal and maybe the granola bars for breakfast, and then the entree and the other snacks for lunch, or maybe have the raisins as a dessert and just the other snacks on the go. Actually, I'm going to move my granola bars over here. I'll leave the crumbs there, but I'm going to put the Cheerios here. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and eat them as well. What saved the Cheerios is the fact that this is a Mylar bag. And it was inside of a sealed box. So again, for those coming in late, Mile Meals, here are the dates. This is the production date, the standard 4-digit date code. And then here is the best buy date. Now before, I'm going to go ahead and open the pita chips, but if they smell funky, they're going into the trash bag. And they smell funky. They smell rancid. They look fine. That is what they look like. When they're fresh, these are awesome. I've had these when these were much younger. But they do smell rancid. So they're going in the trash. I'm not going to bother with them. It's kind of a bummer that it is that way, but it is the way it goes with these sometimes. I'm going to go get my pasta with veggies, and I'll be right back. I am back. This is a dome lid from my cookware set that I have had since the 80s. I have a paper towel that I'm using to dry this off. There's Cliff in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I like to shake. I actually got it upside down. Nope, do I? Or maybe not. Oh well, I've already shaken the food down this way, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut myself a tear notch. And let's see what this looks like. That's as good as that's going to get. I'm just going to put that right back in there. So this is what the pasta and vegetables looks like. I'm giving my orange drink another stir because it does need it. It's got the rotini. It's got red and green bell peppers. It's got celery. It's got green beans. It's got garlic and onion. In a thin sauce. Gonna go ahead and give it a taste. But it could be a Mediterranean pasta. It just says pasta with garden vegetables. But it could be a Mediterranean style. But if you like mushrooms, you would not want this one. I mean, you would want this one. That's a nice big mushroom piece. But if you do not like mushrooms or you cannot eat them, then you want to avoid this entree, since that will give you the mushrooms. But everything is very soft, as you would expect for something this old. Tiny bit of it got into my sunflower seeds, but I got that out. But the flavor is nice. Tim Riley is here. Thanks for dropping in. I enjoyed this main when I had it the first time. And I was happy to get it again. But not bad for 2016. Time to give my cocoa a test. That's not bad. It's one of those cocos that are produced by Sysco, Sysco, the food service supply company. And that would be most likely where Mild Meals source some of their other items, the smaller items like the coffee packets, a sugar, a creamer, and things like that. And these raisins were just in a box that you did not have to rip open, like the Sun-Made raisin boxes, or the ones that you get in like a plastic wrap 6-pack, but each box was not sealed shut. You could just open the top and get the contents out. You take it easy, Multi-Magnum. I I hope you feel better soon, and I will see you in probably, because I starting on March 1st, I won't be in any streams whatsoever, especially the night ones. So I may not see you till April 6th, but I hope you get to feel better soon. There's a little bit of everything in there. I'm going to go ahead and take a bite of one of these peanuts. That tastes like what a roasted and salted peanut should look like, even for its age. I'm not getting any of that funkiness in my mouth. I'm happy with these peanuts. They're the honey roasted sunflower kernels. Very slight sweetness. Good crunch to those. I'm happy with those. There's one of the Cheerios. That one tastes just like it should. And the orange drink did not come with this one. I got it out of my stash. Mile Meals did not put a cold drink option in their bags, unlike La Brie, which does. And because they put 2 instant teas in each one of theirs, and I only used one, I have something that I can do at a later date. I have an older instant iced tea drink mix, and then the ones from the La Brie, they're sugar free. The older one that I have has a real sugar in it. So I can do a comparison between the two. They're both the lemon flavored. So I will do that during one of my future streams. I'm sorry I do not read Korean. Yeah. Well, we know how to deal with that. And just carry on. That's why I have so many modified people in here. Because these peanuts are actually edible, I'm going to try a few of them in here. It gives it a little crunch, and because the peanuts are salted, that could add a little bit of salt to this. That way I don't have to use the salt packet that came in there. So I think I'm going to throw a few more of the peanuts in. Unlike crackers or even the pita chips, if they would have survived, they will not go to mush. And I can still enjoy the flavor of them. They won't absorb as much of the sauce, but that's okay. But these companies like this, because of the much higher standards that they adhere to, they don't put in a lot of the unnecessary preservatives, additives, no colors, unlike that, which has artificial color. It is closer to natural. And this may have had, this has the vitamin and mineral enriched pasta. But again, it's not a lot of the extra crap that really doesn't belong. So this is some good things. You might still be able to find these particular meals, or sometimes just the entrees alone on eBay, or sometimes you can find the accessory packs alone on eBay. But because of the nature of some of the packaging and their age, fact that my own meals got replaced by La Brioute. They may not be quite as good or quite as taste quite as fresh, but they're still worth checking out. My own meals again does they're primarily known for their kosher certified, but they also do the halal certifications. There's a really good chicken entree that I like from this called My Kind of Chicken. I've I'm still seeing that one on eBay as a standalone item. So after Ramadan, when I put in my next ration orders for April, I will not order any rations for March because I'm really not gonna need them since I won't be doing any streams. But I have a good supply of rations to get me going next month or in April and even into May. But I may get that My Kind of Chicken if I still see it because I thought it was really good. So April 6th will be my next live stream after Ramadan ends. That will end either March 29th or March 30th, depending on how the lunar cycle works, because Islamic months, the same with the Jewish calendar, it follows the lunar cycle instead of the solar. So that's you know that will that indicates why Ramadan and the other Muslim holidays, as well as some of the Jewish holidays, they float around. I'm just going to have another few of these peanuts by themselves. Boaza, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Assalamu alaikum. You're looking at a kosher and halal certified vegetarian meal by the company My Own Meals. I don't remember how long these were in circulation, but La Brioute took over several years ago, and they do pretty much the same thing with a few variations. I have a video on the difference between the two companies, what type of items they put into their meals when you get the complete kit. The entree packed separate from the accessory bag, which contains everything else. Some of the differences in the packaging itself as well as the contents. So I picked two somewhat similar meals to do that, comparison. So that's several videos back. So Labriot is a current provider of kosher certified entrees. The ones that I had were vegetarian, but I have a kosher chicken gumbo that I recently acquired, and I will be digging into that one after Ramadan. Yes, these mild meals, at least the entrees, are fairly healthy. This is Honey Nut Cheerios. They put one of those single serve boxes of cereal into their bags. So all of these are very snack heavy. And I said earlier, if you wanted to split this up into two smaller meals, maybe eat the cereal and maybe one of the granola bars or the raisins for breakfast, and then the rest later. This company did not include a cold drink option, so I got a drink from my stash. But La Briute includes a cocoa mix and a cold drink option. And they also provide a flameless ration heater, which Mild Meals does not. I put some of the peanuts in here for a little crunch. This has mushrooms in it. It has red and green bell peppers. It's got green beans, some celery, and garlic and onion. And pretty nice size mushroom pieces. So this is not for those who either cannot eat mushrooms or just don't like them. But I like mushrooms. These granola bars are the crunchy honey oat. And they were individually wrapped, not the two put together. They held up very well. So I'm very happy about that. Even though these raisins were in a box that was not sealed shut, they still, they dried up a bit, but that might have helped preserve them a little bit more. So they didn't go funky. Again, these companies like Mile Meals and Love Brute, they are contracted by the U.S. military to produce kosher certified rations. Muslims, a Jewish soldier could also get one of the standard halal U.S. MREs. So I have several of those that I will be opening up after Ramadan. So that's these meet specific dietary requirements. They're certified by a specific organization that ensures that they do conform to those religious dietary standards. In the case of kosher certified, a rabbi is there on site in the facility watching over the production, making sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. As far as a halal certification, there is someone who has extensive knowledge in that, and that person would look at what's going on, making sure that the meats used come from a location where it was properly slaughtered and butchered. The animal came from a farm that where it was raised in the healthiest way possible. And when you get something that has both designations, you can count on it to be high quality no matter who gets it. Now, the other rations that I have up for review, in addition to the halal emeries and that kosher chicken gumbo, I have a Polish single meal with goulash, and I have a British 24-hour ration. And I believe that is, I think that one is a vegetarian or a halal certified. I would have to look at the bag. I recently reviewed the second of the two halal certified XMRE single meal rations. So I got those up. So I wouldn't mind trying a few more of their newest releases. But that will have to come at a later time. Going to have another handful of these sunflower kernels. Yeah, have fun with that. XMRE has done kosher certified single meal rations along with the halal certified ones, but I looked on their site and they show as unavailable. I don't know if they're not going to do that anymore or they're not going to do it for a certain amount of time and then maybe get back into it. But they still show as an option in addition to their blue line and their regular single meals, and they've done 24-hour rations. But those are also hard to find. LC and Prepper for the Ages, thanks for dropping in. So a little bit better on this one. The peanuts, the packet was perfectly fine. It was not compromised. Unfortunately, the pita chips smell just as nasty as the other ones, so they did not make it out of the bag. They're in my bag that I'm using as a trash bag. Sorry about that. Something dropped down that I did not want Pumpkin to go after. But this is the pita chip bag. When these are fresher, or if you can get a very fresh bag of these are good pita chips. But because they are completely gone to crap, they did not make it out of the bag. When I first got these, CT had sent me a whole case of these, but the problem with that was there's very little menu variety. A couple of them, I think I had 4. So I had 4 of one menu, 2, like 3 or 4 of another, and there was one I only had 1 of. I did not get 12 different entrees. And all the accessory packets are identical. So that's another problem with these. Whereas the US Emery, the Halal ones, each menu is different. You don't get the same thing in every single menu that's out there. yeah, when you can find them, I do hope you do try some of them. I'm looking forward to that chicken gumbo. The two vegetarian ones that I've had, actually not bad at all. I would get those again. Yeah, considering it is carb heavy, but you also get the protein from the sunflower kernels and the peanuts and whatever other vitamins and minerals are in the raisins, all the snacks. And because this, you could theoretically divide this one up into two meals because it had the cereal in it. I wouldn't be surprised if people who had this out in the field actually did that. If they had time to eat part of it, they would, and then they would eat the rest at a later time. And of course, the snacks, you could just pocket them and go. Mike Kosher in the house, thanks for dropping in. Again, La Briute adds a cold drink option in addition to their cocoa mix. They don't put coffee in like Mild Meals did. But Mild Meals did not put a cold drink option, so I just grabbed an orange out of my stash. Oh, Mike, I'm glad you're having a much better day. Things can get crazy. My craziness is going to kick into higher gear this week. Tuesday, I have a doctor's appointment. I go every 2 months. They call it a med check, or are classified as pain management. And then after that, I'm going to go to my favorite lunch spot, Gersha. They serve Ethiopian food. Then I'm going to go to the mosque, do a bunch of things. We had a big cleaning day yesterday. So we did a lot of work. There are probably about, at the max, maybe 15 of us, 15 or 16 of us. And then after I left, there are a few people left who are going to do things like mop the floor of our community room. There was a woman who was still cleaning the kitchen when I left. So tomorrow, it's going to be kind of a chill day. But the temperature here got up to 53 degrees Fahrenheit. And Wednesday, I have a Transit Rider Advisory Committee meeting at noon, and I get lunch there. And then from there, I will go back to the mosque to do some more things. I think some more supplies will be coming in. I will check to see what has been brought in. Make sure that's placed where It needs to be for our first iftar dinner on Saturday. And of course, Thursdays have always been my usual day to go in there before, you know, I get stuff ready for the lunch we serve after the Friday prayer. But this Friday, we're not doing lunch. It gives our cook a day off or an extra day before she has to really go after it on Saturday. But I will still go to my favorite lunch spot on Thursday like I always do. And I go into a store called Halal Groceries where I get some of my stuff that like halal meats that I get or some other items. When I'm doing my personal shopping, I'm going to, if I get my next deposit on Thursday, I'm going to go ahead and do my personal shopping for March because I want to get the stuff that I will have for my breakfast that I will eat before first light starting Saturday morning. If I can have that in place, then I might be able to finish that up on Friday. Of course, I will also need to get prescriptions filled so I can get my pill boxes done for the month because that's how I do it. And I can get that done. And I might want to pick up a couple of things for the mosque anyway that we could use more of. And one of my subscribe and save items that I have for Amazon will be coming in, and that will be the 4 packs of the disinfecting wipes. I actually have that set up 2 sets of 4 of those containers, I think twice a year. And then I usually take those to the mosque. I might keep one container for myself, or I just get the soft packs and keep those for myself and then give all of the containers to the mosque because we go through a whole lot of them. Yeah, that is something that's totally on YouTube. I have been unsubscribed from several channels. I've had to resubscribe. I don't know what the reason behind that is, especially if you're active on that channel, even if you don't comment a whole lot. I think one year I was unsubscribed from a channel called Survival Lily, a woman in Austria who presents survival skills and solar. She built her own solar system. She does gardening on her small property and on her mother's, her parents' property. She has, she has a bug out camp, and then she'll do shelter builds. She was on Naked and Afraid. So I 1 year I was unsubscribed from her channel, I think 3 times. So what a lot of other channel creators or channel owners are doing, they're reminding people to check their subscriptions to make sure that they're subscribed. You know, if the notification bell is on, so you get notified because, even with that, you don't get notified all the time. I don't get all the notifications I should. But sometimes if that notification bell gets turned off, but yet you're still subscribed to the channel, the only way to fix that has been, and it might still work, unsubscribe from that channel, then resubscribe immediately, then you should be able to turn the notification bell back on. I've had to do that dozens of times on various channels. It's just all over YouTube. It affects small channels like ours. It affects the bigger channels. It's annoying as heck. Yeah, that's the problem, Elsie. I don't get all the notifications I should. That's just a big problem all over YouTube. Someone needs to seriously fix that. And I hope fairly soon because we're getting tired of it. Old Smokey in the house. Yeah, most of my streams are running around 1.5, 2 hours. Sometimes I've gone longer. But everything that was in here that is edible is out here. The pita chips, I opened the bag and they stunk, so they went right into the trash bag. I'm using the Walgreens bag as a trash bag, and that's where the pita chips are because they do not smell good at all. But the peanuts, this time, the packet was not compromised, unlike the other one. These are perfectly fine. In fact, I put some, there's one right there, I put some of them in the entree. Yeah, well, that is completely wrong. They should care about it because, for one thing, If people see our videos, they see that we're putting up videos, they'll watch them. That earns them money from the advertising, in addition to earning us money from the advertising, those of us who are monetized. That one might have been an oops, or someone thought you were a troll. But I do thank you for dropping in. I hope you enjoy this review. I'm nowhere near the professional that Steve 1989 is. I'm nowhere near as good as Old Smoky. Yeah, there are certain comments that will not fly around here. If it's not family friendly, if it's not respectable of other people, so Smegna, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm glad to have you here. After tonight, I will not be streaming until April 6th because I will be taking my Ramadan break. I will be eating my dinner every night in the mosque. I help with the setup and some events prep, things like that. I'll be checking inventories, see what we need. We're trying to get an initial stock set up. So this week more stuff will be coming in. I will make note of that. And we got some others who are also helping with the inventory, but they may not be able to go in when I'm able to. Oh yeah, I have been wanting to try the ratatouille for a long time. I had never been able to get one, or when it did come up, I didn't have the money to get it. But I am also going to be doing a trade with someone. So that should be interesting to see what I get in return for what I'm going to be sending out. I have already had conversation. I will reveal that once I get the item that I am trading for. And then the person I'm trading with will reveal what's in the package that I'm going to be sending. Yeah, Elsie, that is another IMP menu that I hope to get my paws on sometime in the future. Pub style pulled beef. That sounds like a very, very good one. Or maybe I might have to, if someone doesn't beat me to it, you know, if it is still there, and provided that seller is in the US already, if it is still there when I get paid, I just may go ahead and order it. But otherwise, I will try for another time. The pricing on these can vary by the seller. If it's a civilian ration, it can depend on what the manufacturer sets as their base price. You know, what they would sell on their website. And of course, you got resellers who will buy a bulk lot and then sell for a little bit of a profit. But some of these can be less than $10, less than $15. And some single meal rations, if they're extremely rare or extremely hard to get in the US, they could be a whole lot more expensive. And of course, with foreign rations, we run the risk of having them raided by customs. Because they want to think that either the factory sealed container is not good enough, or they just want a free lunch on us. Yeah, there's a new company I've seen called Amory Giant. I actually saw that on the ex-Emory website. So I don't know if that is a co-branding or they're just selling Emory Giant cases. But they're kind of like Emory Star or the civilian versions of rations that Sopaco, Warnick, and Ameriqual do. Sopaco has their reduced sodium emergency meals, and then Ameriqual has their APAC ready meals. I don't know what Warnick's civilian brand name is. I have never seen that come up, but I'm pretty sure they have something like that. And then, of course, there's the humanitarian daily ration and the even newer survivor daily ration, which are humanitarian disaster relief civilian rations. They're calorie dense 24-hour ration with no drink options other than this smoothie thing, which is closer to baby food. And no flameless ration heater. So you're basically just opening the pouches and eating the food at whatever temperature it is where you're eating it. Yeah, that's what you do when you're doing a customs declaration. And sometimes you can get lucky with it going through without being pilfered or even opened at all. And sometimes the recipient can get robbed. Yeah, that's a real bummer with finding such deals. If the timing is not right, when you're able to drop the coin for it, it might as well not even be available. This cocoa, it was produced by Cisco, Sysco, the company that does bulk supplies for food service for restaurants, hotels, event venues, schools, workplace cafeterias. We get Cisco stuff shipped to Halal groceries, and then that is in turn brought to the mosque for some of our meals. Like the frozen vegetables and their foam carry-out containers and other supplies like that. I hope Emily is still in the UK. I hope no one moved last night. I'm just using the spoon end of my spork to pick up the sunflower kernels because they're so small. So again, for 2016, other than the peanut chips, I am very happy with this one. I'm glad the peanuts were not compromised. All the peanuts are gone. Speaking of British rations, have you seen some of the newest ones? Eats, treats, and MREs. She got a case of them, the newest ones, and they were in zip top bags with the slider zip, and some of those were not completely closed all the way across. The little slider thing was not completely closed, so the bags, some of the bags were partially open. So some of the contents could have come out. And she said there's some changes in the ORPs that she didn't like. Like some of the contents were not quite as many items. Not quite the quality. I think she's reviewed a couple of them already. Yeah, she was very disappointed at seeing so many bean-based items. But those zip bags, unlike the first plastic bag version, this is my second one that I've had one of those already. Now I have another one. Thanks to Mike Kosher, who sent me one. The zip bag does have an advantage over the previous one, is that it can be resealed after you open it. But you still get the additional Ziploc bag for that the accessory items are in. You still have that to use. It would still be interesting to try some of those out. I mean, you can get very creative with the beans, and I hope that's what they're doing, is getting very creative with the recipes that they're using. That way, the soldier who has to live on those for a long enough period of time could get tired of it and want to go find something different. Yeah, that is the same with the HDRs and the Survivor Daily Rations. They are heavily bean based. And with those, I can see the need to have vegetarian, but they could do something different. They could improve the variety a whole lot. Now, speaking of Smokey's new properties, I am looking forward to seeing what they're going to look like when all the reno work is done. Having a dedicated studio space will free up the space you have in your house. And of course, the restaurant, if you can get that up and running, it could get you a nice little income. Of course, having that bonus apartment above the first floor of that one building that will be the studio, that is a nice bonus. Well, that's definitely something to mull over in your brain. Now, the question is, do you want to take on yet another project? Or stick with what you got and maybe keep the stress level down a bit? Yeah, that is definitely something you want to do. Go over the options, talk to people who have the right knowledge and expertise in how to make the correct decision. Even with what you got now, that could definitely make for some more good video fodder. Yep. There was another YouTuber who had been working part time at a gas station, and he has since changed jobs to something completely different. He is driving a bus for a residential health care provider. And so he's got his times that he makes his runs, but it's paying him more money than what he was getting at the gas station. But he said that it's the items that sell inside the building, like the snacks, the drinks, the other little items, travel size items that you might find. That's where their profit is on that type of stuff, because with fuels, that's a whole other animal. This guy I was talking about, the channel is called St. Bernard Acres, and he lives in West Virginia, but his second property, where he built a cabin mostly out of pallet wood, is in Ohio, and there was already a barn on site. So he has gradually worked the land, cleared brush and dead trees, where he can now have a rain catchment system off the barn. He has a small version of that on the cabin. And then he has two buildings that were brought in. They call it the shed style building. So he is turning one into the house that he and his wife and their dogs will live in. Then he is going to build an extension, and then he has another one on the property that his son will eventually live in, but that is currently like their bug out location. Yeah, Dave, maybe you can do what my friend Tack did here in Des Moines. She got a freeze dryer, but several other locals contributed money to the purchase of that freeze dryer. So it is at Tax House. So she uses it, and she taught her spouse Brenda to use it. Yes, they are a lesbian couple. So, but the others who helped pay for it can also come use it when they want, or just bring tack the food that they want freeze dried, and then either pay her to do it, or she gets to keep a portion of it. Something like that. So if you can make an arrangement like that with some others who are interested in freeze drying, that could be one way to go to cut the cost, and then just share the use of it. Or you can offer to freeze dry for other people, and then they would pay you for it, either with money or with a portion of the finished product. Yeah, you could turn the freeze drying into a business. Like, you look on eBay, there are sellers offering up small packets of the freeze dried candies, and Tack has experimented with some of those on her channel. I'll just use this bag as an example. Something like this size, full of freeze dried candy. You know, like Skittles, other things that you see people have experimented with. Certain candies come out, they freeze dry pretty good, others not so much. But it's just something to experiment with, just like any food preservation. Even basic dehydrating, you're trying stuff. Certain things work better than others. You make a mistake, you're learning. Yeah, you can buy butter powder, which has already been done, but it is closer to what ghee is. Ghee is clarified butter with the milk solids removed, and then you lose some of the water content. But the butter powders is pretty much like freeze-dried ghee. You can use it in a lot of ways, so that can be an option if you can get a supply of that. At least to start out, if you want to experiment, and then if you like it, you can just keep doing more of it. When you make a honey powder, it is processed in a different way. And I do have a few cans of the honey powder. Now, Bill, see, this is a titanium spork. I use this in all of my ration reviews. I have another one that is in my camping cookware bag. So I have one of these that I take camping. I use this in place of utensils that come in rations. Some rations don't provide utensils. This was a spoon that was provided, a very cheap plastic spoon. But I save all these. These and items like this wet wipe, they become part of my emergency stash, so that if I'm in a situation where I have to severely restrict my water usage, if my building is not getting water from our water company for whatever reason, and I have to rely on my stored water, that's when I go to my disposable tableware. So every time I get a utensil or a napkin or these that you get in USMREs, and Mile Meals put these in. La Brea puts the pocket tissue packs in. I save all of those, and they become part of my emergency supply. I keep disposable plates and bowls and cups, some of the cups I've gotten from hotels that I've stayed in. Hotels will leave the travel size products like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, little soap that's not much, no bigger than this piece of the granola bar. So when I travel, I take my own. But the last hotel that I stayed in had their shampoo, conditioner, and body wash pump bottles mounted to in a wall-mounted holder. So that's what I used instead of the little travel ones. And then when I packed up to leave, I nipped those travel size items. And then the one coffee cup, paper coffee cup, I repeatedly used it. And then the others I brought home. So I have a collection of those items. So again, part of my emergency supply. I can either barter with those items or just use them myself. Again, going back to the honey powder, it may take another process, but I have honey powder that I got from Thrive Life and Augustin Farms. So you can look on those sites or on Amazon or even eBay, and there may be other companies that do the honey powder as well. You can find it in that powdered form. It may be mixed with sugar as a processing aid. I'm not sure how that works, but those are the two companies that I have honey powder from. I have actually not tasted it. I really don't want to waste those cans. But if it tastes like honey that has already been crystallized, that still has some moisture content, I'm sure it'll be just as sweet, maybe a little bit more concentrated. Giving my cocoa a bit of a stir because cocos tend to settle. But if I can get a much smaller sample of it, then I will go ahead and try that. I also have peanut butter powder that is supposed to have a longer shelf life than your standard peanut butters. Yeah, that one was a weird one. That's just as weird as in 2019, on the day that I came back from my family trip to Lake Icaria, which is my late dad's favorite Iowa place. And when one of my sisters brought me home, it was early enough in the day. I had a prescription ready at a Walgreens. So I thought, okay, drop my stuff. I'm going to go hop a bus, go get that prescription, and then start unpacking. So I do that. I get back home. Just about a minute or two after I got back home from the Walgreens, I get a call from the police saying someone had reported me being attacked in my apartment. Of course, the problem is I was not there, just the late cat Mila was there. So I told him, I just got home from a trip, and then I went to Walgreens to get a prescription. So they send a couple officers out. They see no sign of forced entry, and I said, of course not. There's no forced entry. I have a key. Then they still wanted to take me to a hospital, but I refused. I'm actually surprised that I was not arrested because I refused to go to a hospital. But I never did find out who the supposed friend was. So I'm guessing that it was someone who wanted to waste the time and resources of the Des Moines police on a wild goose chase when there was no geese. I never heard any more after that. And of course, there have been YouTubers who have been victims of what is known as swatting, where someone, maybe even from another state, will find out where a certain person, the YouTuber, lives, and then call the local police from wherever they're at and say that this crime is going on. Or that they're suicidal or something like that. And then a SWAT team shows up ready to unload their shooters. Turns out there's nothing going on but a YouTuber trying to do a live stream or record a video. So that is a waste of police resources. And of course, filing a false police report, I believe, is a felony. No. Every time I've had trike stolen, I have had 4 trikes. All 4 of them have gotten stolen. I report it. I don't get squat. And when I have reported attempts at domestic assault in my building on residents who lived below me. It may take hours for them to show up, and by that time, whoever is trying to get in is gone. Although the last time that happened, the police did come in a relatively short time and caught the person in the act. Of course, the victim of that was also had an outstanding warrant, so that person was arrested also. But I haven't had to call the police for anything here since. I may have heard yelling occasionally at night, but or just people talking loud outside, but nothing like the last incident where the person was actually trying to break the door, the slider. I am happy with the police response on that. But sometimes, yeah, they are, I don't know if they're just understaffed. And the city doesn't have the budget to have more, they're overworked. Or they're not prioritizing things right. Who knows, but it can be hit or miss. Oh, yeah, we have had kids targeting their schools with these false reports. Again, wasting the time and resources of the police and then forcing what's called a lockdown, where wherever you're at in the building, you have to stay put behind a closed door. Just in case there is actually something real, and most of the time it's not. It's fake. The kid making these false claims is wanting attention, or they're just flipped out on something. Yeah. Yeah, Smoke, you got that problem. And then you got the reverse, where children are taken away when there's absolutely no reason to. So you got both of these issues, so there is definitely something wrong going on. It's a hot mess. Yeah, and these people who are in these jobs, you know, whatever agency they're working for. They could be understaffed. Heck, immigration judges, for example, nowhere near enough of them. Their caseloads are miles long. They don't have the time to do the proper research for each case. They don't have the resources to deal with the issue in the way that it's supposed to be dealt with. And Child Protective Services was called to a place where I was living at the time. That was a waste of their resources. That person could have gone to a home where there actually was a child being abused or neglected, or a dependent adult being abused or neglected. And I have been involved in a couple of those cases myself when I was doing home health care. I reported conditions to my supervisor, or the nurse case manager, and then we had to get Iowa Human Services in on 2 of these cases. Unfortunately, it was too late for one to get any real resolution, and the client died soon after my last visit. But another client did live longer, but there was some progress starting to be made, and that's all I will go into that. I don't want to say any more about those, but I have been involved with that, and I'll tell you, it was not easy to see that kind of stuff, but I did the best that I could for those people. Yeah, Elsie, we had that big problem down here too with indigenous kids being taken away from their parents for no reason other than to brainwash them. And I personally know a few of them who have experienced that. Yeah, I know the children of those who experienced that. But because they got to be with people who could support them and help them deal with that trauma, they were able to have very good lives. I was supposed to be with some of them yesterday, members of the White Eagle Powwow organizing committee, which I am a part of, even though I'm not indigenous. I just have been helping out with them doing the kids' crafts, and I donated a collapsible wagon, which I've talked about before. And I just joined the committee. I went to a committee meeting to present the wagon, and I just stayed. Yeah, I'll stay and help you guys out. So I was at the mosque for our a big cleaning day, and then there was some supply inventory going on as well. So I did that instead of go to a party with the committee members. But I will go. I will be attending the committee meetings. I will miss the March one because of Ramadan. I'll be at the mosque, and I've already posted on our private Facebook page that I will not be attending. But April, yeah, I'll be getting back with it, and I'm already getting ideas for kids' crafts. And of course, I have known a few other indigenous people just from other things I've done. And my friend up in London, Ontario, I haven't met her personally, but we talk on Messenger chat or like WhatsApp or Viber. But she has a half brother who is indigenous, and she is a big time supporter of indigenous people's rights, and you know, getting a resolution for kids who are taken from their families. Yeah, that is a big problem. Yeah, I have relatives who have gone through that experience with parents who are or were alcoholics or drug addicts. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but yeah, that has happened in it was some of my relatives. Welcome, Andrei Vajishko. I am not very good at that pronunciation. I do apologize. If it's Russian, I messed with Russian as a bit of a hobby back in the 80s. It's fall of 87 in college. Yeah, I can remember how to pronounce most of the Cyrillic letters, but when it comes to meanings and things, I am not that great. I've only messed with it occasionally when I was doing more active in coin and currency collecting. I had coin and currency books that showed stuff from around the world, and in a coin chat I was in at that time, people would send pictures of a coin or a note. If they didn't have the book or any reference book, then I would look it up. I reply with, this is what it says, and for different grades, this would be approximate values. So that's about the extent of it. Yeah, I did, and speaking of nursing homes, when I did a clinical at a nursing home, the first time I took a nurse aid class back in 2002, we were tailing staff in a nursing home, and we were watching them take shortcuts in, you know, resident hygiene, trying to do things as quickly as possible. And I'm thinking, did this person really just shove a wet paper towel in between a person's legs? And then just pull it back. I didn't say anything, but my mind was thinking, no, that's that's not the way to do it. Just trying to rush it and not doing a good job could possibly irritate very sensitive skin. Yeah, I was fortunate. I was able to buy the little bit of gold that I do have back in the 90s. But most of what I have as far as the gold coins, a few that I have, are really small. I have some really tiny Indian gold coins that are no bigger than one of the, maybe no bigger than one of the peanuts, or say no bigger than a small raisin. Very, very tiny gold coins, maybe not even a full gram. But they're very interesting. I figured that would be an easy way to get into gold at a very small level. I probably only paid maybe $5 or $6 for each one of those. And when it was legal to buy South African Krugerrands, I bought a 10th ounce off of a local for $40. And now that same coin is probably worth a few hundred, considering the current price of gold. But then I also consider the gold jewelry that I have. Some I got as gifts. I traded for another. So I don't have a huge amount of gold, but I do have some. I have silver in a variety of forms. I got the bullion, the non-monetary coins, some silver poured pieces. I got some little bars. I do have one Polish silver proof coin that's a square. It's not a round, it's a square. So I went after some of the more unusual ones because they just seem more interesting. I have a few errors. I have a 1743 Russian 5 kopeck coin. And those are thick ones. They're about as thick as two US dollar coins. Yeah, Elsie, that's a staffing issue that we got down here, not only for nursing homes and other residential facilities, but hospitals, rehab centers, group homes for adults who cannot live independently. I know people who have worked and may still work for these facilities. The staffing is just not enough. They're overworked. Sometimes they're expected to do things that they're either not qualified to do because of their level of license or certification, or that could be downright unethical or illegal, or they're just not doing enough of the right things. They're doing, it's like doctors are doing more administrative type stuff, paperwork, computer work, almost more of that than actual patient care. Yeah, they are. And daycare centers are also going that way when they were uh, independently owned by the company that had the center put in. Like, for example, the the daycare center that one of my sisters officially resigned from because her long-term disability had run out and she had not completely healed from her foot surgery, because the surgeon had to get back into her ankle to do some corrective work because she was not healing properly. So that extended her downtime. So she just officially resigned. So once she does fully recover, if she wanted to go back there, she would have to reapply as if she was any other prospective, job hunter. But the company, the hospital outsourced the management to a for-profit company. And the same company also manages a daycare center for a couple other downtown businesses here in Des Moines. Principal Financial and The federal building used to have a daycare center right in it. I don't know if it still does. And I don't know if the federal government manages it or if they have outsourced it. I have not been inside the local federal building in quite a number of years. I haven't had a reason to go in there. I go by it once in a while, but that's it. Oh, yeah. You could have found some good stuff there. When I worked at Walgreens, sometimes customers would, when they would pay in cash for something, they would either pay with silver coins, and if I had the change in my pocket, I would swap them out. And then there was a coworker who was also doing the same thing. And then if they paid with a silver certificate, I would swap that out for a newer dollar. And if there's an Indian head cent or a wheat cent, I would swap a newer penny for one of those. So that's how I got some of it. And then some would also have foreign coins like Canadian. There's quite a bit of Canadian. I would swap all that out just to make sure that there's only US money in that cash drawer when it was time to count out at the end of the shift. And there was people who would just drop a handful of their coins on the counter and leave without waiting for change. And sometimes there would be tokens in their various types. I would match the size of that token to any coins I had in my pocket. That way my count would not be too low. And then a couple other times, I was opening coin rolls that a manager would bring out. I opened one penny roll, and there was a slug in it. So whoever was feeding the coin wrapper let a slug go through. No, that was a nickel wrapper that I opened up and there was a slug in it. When I opened up a penny roll, there was a dime in it. There was 49 pennies and one dime in it. So somebody was not watching what they were doing when they were wrapping those rolls. And it was just like in the same week that happened. I opened the nickel roll, got the slug. A few days later, I opened the penny roll and got a dime out of it. So I reported those to the manager. So that way they could, whatever they do they write down or put in a computer that there was a problem with a particular coin roll. Now, the store was right next to a bank, so it was easy to just go out of the Walgreens into the lobby of the building that it was in, walk across that into the bank and get a box of coin rolls, some cash bundles, swapping hundreds for lower denominations, whatever we needed during the day. If the safe in the office was out, So I'm sure they log any errors that we encounter. Yeah, handling all those coins and notes, that did get the hands dirty, but there were wipes handy, so I was constantly using those. And sometimes the coins would be rather sticky, so I would wipe them off before putting them into their respective spots in the drawer, because there were some customers who did not give a flip about their personal hygiene. You get some people who are homeless and just messed up on who knows what. So yeah, I was literally wiping off coins. Of course, that's also, it was that same year that we had a couple of price download errors on magazines. Whoever programmed or put in the file the prices for things that were going out to the stores for our systems to use when you scan the barcode, the correct price is supposed to pop up. Well, we had magazines that were scanned, or the decimal had been moved over a couple of spots, so you had like a $595 magazine or $585 magazine. So of course we would not make a customer pay that. We would manually correct the price and report that to the management. So that's how we found out there was an error that came down in the price download from corporate. So someone there messed up. Yeah, and for some that we handled, it was really bad. I still, if I see a coin on the ground, I'll pick it up. A few times riding buses, someone would drop a coin by the fare box and just not bother to pick it up. So if I see it, I pick it up. And I tell the driver that someone dropped it. And, oh, you have it. So, okay, yeah. And of course, because I live in an apartment building where everybody shares a laundry room, people don't always check their pockets before they put their stuff in the washers. I've found spent band-aids. I've found cigarette butts. You know, what was left of a Kleenex or other tissue or piece of paper. And other items that wouldn't take out of their pockets. So yeah, that has happened. Hey, Smokey, that does sound like a very doable idea if you can pull it off. It would take a lot of work, no doubt, to get something like that going. And if some of us were closer, it'd be a nice place for us to hang out. You could have Ration community meetups there. I think that would be a crap ton of fun. Yeah, that would be like PCGS and NGC and Annex are for coin grading. There is another one. I don't know what the name of it is. I think for for banknotes, paper money, and then there's another one for stamps. I have stamps, but I collected those more for just the appearance of them, a variety. I have stamps that have pictures of coins on them. And of course, I have, most of the stamps that I got were just on packages from other countries, or I would just buy lots that would have something of interest that I wanted, like stamps with pictures of coins on them. Or there would be a collector's show, kind of like a flea market type of thing going on. I would see some there. I have a small number of military surplus items, some Polish, and a few other Polish military surplus items that I wouldn't mind getting, but that will come at a later time. I'm Polish, so I kind of gravitate towards that. The backpack that I use for like my colder weather camping is actually an older style military backpack that kind of resembles the Alice pack, but with made of more modern materials, but without like the three pockets on the outside of the lower half of the pack. It the bottom could be divided for a sleeping bag section, but I never bothered with that. The waist strap didn't have any pockets on it, so I would slide a pouch onto each side if I wanted that. It didn't have much for gear attachment on the sides, but then I bought a pack off of my, tack. Her channel used to be called AOK Foraging and Adventures. Now it's AOK Urban Homestead because that's what she and Brenda are concentrating on. But they still do their outdoor stuff when they can. But she had a Teton Sports 40-liter pack that she didn't want to use anymore. So I gave her a couple items in trade and $50 and called it good. So I used that pack for my warmer weather camping because obviously in warmer weather you don't need as much gear as you do when it's colder. But I haven't been able to do any of that type of stuff for a few years, but I really want to get back into doing that. But the way my right knee is, until I can get something done about that, that's just going to have to wait. Yeah, I have a few Alice clips that was inside of another surplus item I had got from somebody. But I've never tried to use them. I could probably use them on some Molly thing, but I really don't have anything that would be best suited for those Alice clips. But I do have a few. I think 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, my Alice clips are black. But they appear to be in very, very good shape, like they really haven't been abused. Yeah, there's yeah, they made them good back then. They were meant to take hard use. If the owner takes good care of it, it'll take good care of them. Smoking. Speaking of unusual things, when those New Jersey drones first started appearing, and one of the other channels I watch, Garden State Gardener, he had captured them flying over his house. He was outside in his yard. They're flying over, so he recorded them. And to him, they didn't look like your average drone, and they didn't behave like it. So he has those up on his channel. Yeah, there's definitely something not right about those. And because they have appeared in other places, not just New Jersey, and those were behaving in similar odd ways, yeah, there's something up. That's okay. You can get the next one. Yeah, there's definitely some weirdness. Yeah, that's fine. Take out the trash. Yeah, that's what Joe Garden State Gardner thinks. You know, and not just him because other people have recorded him, I guess, or taken pictures of him. Yeah, they're snooping for whatever reason. I don't know of any such thing going on here in Iowa, but it does make you wonder. Yeah, I don't know anything about orbs, but I have watched some other channels where they would a person would see them and sometimes they would be captured on video, or they would hear odd noises that do not sound natural for that location. Yeah, orange drink is gone. Yeah, they were a different type. They would, they could have used small balloons, or, remember model airplanes that were like kit builds. I guess some you could actually launch them and make them fly. Yeah. Oh, see, I'm actually one of those that believes that there is life on other planets. There is a phrase that is in the Quran numerous times, and it translates to, or could, like Allah, the Lord of the worlds, plural, which means the Lord of more than one planet. Of course, being a science fiction fan from my younger days, I have always believed that there is life on other planets, and because this particular phrase is in the Quran, to me that means that we are not the only people that God created. I believe that there are people on other planets just doing their thing like we are. Well, there are some channels that do these 24/7 live feeds, wildlife channels. Like we have one, the Decorah Eagles from Decorah, Iowa. There is a webcam mounted in the tree next to a bald eagle nest. And so that camera is showing the eagle pair raising a chick, or about to, because I think the female just laid an egg not all that long ago. Yeah, some things that are taught to us we have to take with a proverbial grain of salt. Yep. But we have to do what we can to make things better. And we just can't hole up at home and don't do squat. Now, there's another very applicable Islamic saying that says, if you see an evil, change it with your hand, meaning try to try to do something about it, make it right. Or if you cannot do that, then speak up against it. At least make some noise about it, saying, this is not right. This has to change. But if you cannot do that, at least hate it in your heart. That, yeah, I definitely want to try to, with what little I'm able to do, if I can do something to correct a problem, I'll try to do that, just like I did, when I reported domestic assault attempts here. Or when I report a sidewalk that needs snow and ice removed because a particular location, whoever's in charge of that particular area has not done anything about it. So I report it, and hopefully something will get done about it. Well, you have a good night. I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one good anyway. I'm about to knock back the rest of my cocoa. As in my delicious mug that came all the way from Poland. So go check him out. So I want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. It was a good chat. There's some decent food, other than the pita chips. I still got the 2 candies here I'll suck on later. But again, I will be back at it on April 6th after Ramadan ends. Again, I will probably toss up reminder posts throughout March when I will be getting back into the streaming thing, just like I did in today's post. But I do want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I will still put some stuff up when I can. It just may not be much, but on April 6th, 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time, I will be back at it. Not sure what I'll open up, but I will have something, I'm sure, which will be pretty good. So again, thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.